Hello.
Hi, Nick. It's great to see you. We're supposed to be having a fireside chat, but I'm in a kitchen and you're in an office.
Yeah, I am.
Look, it's great to see you. There's lots to talk about. And I kind of want to start off really with how you're feeling about the UK right now. How are you feeling about the UK as a place to do business? Positive, negative? How are you feeling about it?
I think it's good. I'm very positive about UK. Obviously, recently we had some more difficult times with COVID and with Brexit, but I think a lot of companies adjusted and are open to new opportunities.
Yeah, let's talk a bit about COVID. I mean, we've all been reinventing through COVID, personally and in our businesses too. What's it meant for you? What's it meant for Revolut? I mean, I see you're sitting in an office today, but what's COVID meant in terms of the business?
I think we became much more efficient compared to pre-COVID times. So before, everyone spent a lot of time face-to-face meetings, traveling as well. Nowadays, everything is through Hangouts or any web calls. So it really saves time and allows you to be focused. So obviously, the disadvantage of it is that sometimes, I mean, particularly myself, I miss ideas that are created during life-to-life interaction with people. For example, if you bump into someone in the kitchen, you go with someone for coffee, and there is some kind of creativity enabling environment. So that's something we are missing now.
And what are you planning when we can all get back to being a bit more in person? Are you going to look to have a radical change in terms of how the business operates because of COVID, or are you looking pretty much to kind of get back to where we were before? I mean, lots of businesses are using lots of very different approaches right now. Where's your head on this?
To be honest, we already radically changed. Almost everyone working from home. When it is allowed, 1 or 2 days a week, some people come to the office. But overall, we already radically changed. So before we're hiring a lot of people, for example, in London, now we're hiring a lot of people remotely. And it doesn't really matter where we hire. We started hiring a lot of people 7 hours away, 12 hours away, because a lot of people adjusted to work remotely, even with a large time difference. So for example, we're hiring a lot of people in India, we're hiring a lot of people in the US, Australia as well, even Japan. So we found a way to be much more effective by working remotely. And then as a result, we started also hiring remotely. And that actually unlocked for us a huge opportunity of bringing even better talent on board.
Right. So you're quite geography agnostic now because of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
if you look at our headcount and where people are coming from, I think before COVID, and this is actually great statistics. I think before COVID we were probably 79 or 80 nationalities. If you measure the same number now, we are about 120. So. Which is amazing.
That is amazing. It's true. So, I mean, it really has changed the business in terms of the people.
Yeah.
That's amazing. It is. No, I mean, it's good to hear you, particularly as we're in UK FinTech Week, feeling positive about the UK and your investment here and what you're building here. I mean, one of the things that we're all talking about this week is Ron Khalifa's review and what it means for the fintech ecosystem in the UK. Look, I mean, you're the biggest and brightest name in terms of UK fintech as a business. Talk to me about how you're feeling about Khalifa, what Ron has put on the table. What do you want the government to do? What do you want to see the regulators do? What do you think about it?
To be honest, I personally think it's a great initiative. It really shows that government cares about the industry, and then given difficulty that all the fintech sector has because of Brexit, because obviously a lot of banks are leaving. I think this initiative just shows that government really cares about the industry and really invests in the future in the next 10, 15 years. I think what is actually important is that not only government, but also business, fintech business and regulators, they work all together to ensure that UK fintech is superior, not only in UK, but on a global arena. Because if you look, for example, at Revolut, we're now competing in Australia, we're competing in Japan, we're competing in the US, we're competing in Europe. And in every single country where we go, we face competition. For example, we go into US, and then there are also great companies there, like Chime or Cash App. They're growing rapidly. They have probably more resources than us because US is a larger country, and they're very well funded as well. Probably even much better funded compared to us, given there is a huge market in the US. So I think it's essential for the government and for regulators to come up with a strategy that enables UK fintechs to compete on international arena. And obviously, it might include ability to hire internationally on visas. It might include government fund that Ron proposed to create. It might also include maybe some changes to regulations to allow even better competition in the sector. So I think three parties need to work together, and I think it's very important. So government, regulator, and then fintech businesses to allow international competitiveness.
And you want them to get on with this, yeah? I mean, not delay, not make Khalifa just sit on a shelf. You think actually Ron's come up with three really important areas there, and from your perspective, that they should just get on with it, yeah?
I think it's just the beginning, right? So it's a great step towards, but it's only first step of tens or maybe potentially hundreds. So I think it's very important that these three parties, they work together to enable UK fintechs to compete globally. Because reality at the moment, yes, we might be great in the UK, we might have a lot of customers, but then when we go to US, we're facing much more fierce competition compared to UK because of the landscape, because there are many banks, countries larger, and so on. So I think if government and regulator will enable us to compete by maybe, helping on certain stages, helping with regulations and so on, that will produce, a lot of positive effect for UK economy by simply us hiring many more people in UK.
You've just mentioned America. Lots of headlines about Revolut's plans for America, shooting for a US banking license. What do you see in terms of the American market right now? What's the opportunity for you? How does it compare to what you see here in Europe?
I think it's more competitive, to be honest here. I think it's very fragmented. If you look at US, there are thousands of banks there. Obviously, there are large banks, there are small banks, there are a lot of well-funded fintechs in credit, in digital banking, in trading. I think what is important for us, at least, is as usual, to find initially our niche market. And by niche market, it might not be necessarily small, but just to enter into US and then find our initial customer. And then usually what happens, initial customers promote us to their friends, family. And ultimately, our key advantage compared to local competition in the US is that we are a global player. So from the start, we're always focusing on being a global bank, a global player. And actually, if you look now, we are in 35 countries. And then we're in Japan, for example. We're setting up India, we're setting up South Korea, Brazil, Mexico. And what it allows people, it allows them to have, by definition, global accounts, global bank accounts, and ability to send and receive money between each other instantly and for free. Even now, I can send money to Japan, and someone in Japan can receive money instantly and for free. And that's huge. It wasn't done before. So I think, with this proposition, we will enter US, we'll get some market share. And then as usually, we cross-sell, we go into trading, we go into credit, we go into business accounts, and so on.
Do you think sometimes you're going too fast? It's like there's so many things going on all at once. So, you know, when we think of Revolut, thinking, wow, there's always a new product offer. My phone's always pinging. That shows like you now know I'm a customer. But you know, it's lots of things coming out from Revolut. Do you sometimes worry that the business is going too fast?
I mean, really, it depends on your scale. So we as a business want to build a global platform, and that means we need to be faster compared to every single local player out there. And yes, maybe we seem to be fast for UK, but if you look at China, to WeChat or Alipay, you will see that they're actually developing and releasing faster compared to us. So in short, it's all relative. But to be able to compete on a global scale, to be able to export fintech as a financial services from UK globally, we need to be very fast, because we are competing not only on UK level but also globally.
When you're jumping towards these markets, looking at these markets, you know, you've talked about some of the growth areas that you're pointing towards. In terms of the regulatory approach, are there things here in the UK that we can learn from the US, from Brazil, from some of the ASEAN markets? I mean, what would you say are, you know, is it a more permissive regime that you're seeing in other territories?
I think it's different. So UK regulatory regime is principle based compared to any other countries. In any other countries, it's much more prescriptive. So you can do X, Y, Z. You can't do something else. So it gives, or it has its own advantages and disadvantages. So advantages is that, well, if you always think about great customer outcomes, if you're driven by these principles, so most likely you will not make mistakes. But disadvantages sometimes, you know, you don't know yourself, because legislation is not that defined, or it's not clear, it's a gray area, and it really slows you down. While, for example, if you look at US or other countries, it's so kind of prescriptive. So if you go through, well, any law, you'll be able to understand what you can do and what you can't. But then in reality, you're not really thinking about customer outcomes, because if a law is very prescriptive, you can always find a way to achieve your outcomes or business outcomes, but they might not be necessarily aligned with great customer outcomes. So that's kind of an advantage and disadvantage.
So like you, I mean, I've been doing a lot of work on crypto. It's a big part of what you talk to the market about, a way for retail investors in particular to look at crypto. It's been a phenomenal year again so far. Looking at some kind of looking at the crypto market. What's your view on it? Are you optimistic, kind of positive? What's your sense about where crypto is going?
I think there is a lot of innovation happening, and then not that many people see this innovation. For example, NFT or crypto lending or crypto staking and so on. So ultimately, I'm positive about it, even though, as usually happens, industry can go through ups and downs. So the moment there is a crypto bull run, you know, everyone is happy. There's a lot of innovation happening. But then history shows that, well, industry can go through ups and downs. And then if you look at 2000, 2001, there was internet boom, then, you know, internet bust, then boom again. So I'm kind of, you know, very long term, I'm very positive, but it doesn't mean necessarily that, you know, short term we won't have any downsides.
Yeah, right. I think everyone's looking out for that. It's quite volatile. Innovation is a name that we all think about when we think about you guys, when we think about Revolut. You're always bringing something new to market, wherever those markets are. Can you give us a flavor in our conversation today as the kind of things that you're looking at next, that Revolut wants to bring into the market?
Yeah, so I mean, to be honest, we have a lot of new exciting bets or products that we are working on. It's just our DNA. We're always thinking, okay, what else can we propose to customers? What else can be successful? What else can be useful in terms of great customer outcomes. Couple of examples that we're working on. For example, salary advance product. So what it means in practice, suppose I'm receiving a salary on 25th of every month, and today is 15th. So what it means, I go into Revolut app, I simply press a button, and I get proportion of my salary from, say, first day to 15th day. So without any kind of credit, without borrowing, cheap price, and that's amazing. So instead of being paid once a month, I can be paid every day or every week. It will be up to me. So that's obviously a very beneficial product for consumers. Another thing is, for example, on business account side, we're working on payroll. So at the moment, there is a quite inconvenient process for every single business to run payroll. And then I look at Revolut, we have 2,500 people. And to be honest, in order to do payroll, we employ, well, quite a few people, plus quite a few outsourced companies. And that's very messy. And mistakes happen, takes a lot of admin time. So Revolut Payroll for Business allows businesses to automate all this process. In reality, the way it happens, you just input all your employee data from your HR system, you put in salaries, you press a button, and here we go, everything is automated. So we have 5, 10, maybe potentially even 15 products that we're working on to help customers.
And we were talking earlier about what's changed in terms of the way in which we work. That's at a business level. At a customer level, the past 12 months has changed what we spend, how we spend, how much we spend, where we spend. Can you kind of lift the lid for us a bit on what Revolut's finding there? I mean, we look at your business, obviously transaction volumes is a kind of core part of the financial metric, but what are you seeing in terms of savings and spending trends, and what do you think is going to be baked in, Nik, for the future because of the pandemic?
Look, consumer behavior changed a lot. So I'll just give you an example. So in March, end of March, when COVID hit, everything obviously became closed. So payments volume went down probably 50% overall. And before COVID, payments volume was split maybe, I would say 30% international, 70% local. And then when COVID hit, obviously international spending went to zero. And then local spending completely obviously shift from restaurants to purely online to buying groceries. And till now it stayed. And then if we look at savings for consumers, saving levels actually increased a lot. So if we look at our saving balance, it's probably double or tripled compared to pre-COVID times. So people, because they're forced to stay at home, they don't really overspend. And then probably I would also assume borrowing actually decreased as well. So people have excess cash, excess liquidity, and they need to do something with this cash. So before they were putting it on bank account, they were being paid 2-3%, whatever it was. Now it's almost zero. In Europe, it's even negative. So all this excess liquidity is actually going now into stock market and crypto. As a result, you see a lot of retail traders buying stocks, buying crypto using platforms like us, and probably because of this as well, we see such a large rally in the stock market and crypto market.
Do you think in terms of those savings and spending trends that, what's your data telling you about what really is now baked in for the future? Are we going to have, we've complained for a long time about having a low savings rate, particularly in the UK. Yeah. As you say, for those that can, those that have been able to work in their kitchens or whatever, they've saved a lot. Do you think the savings ratio is going to be permanently higher now, or when we can get back to, doing this in a restaurant together or whatever, do you think it's just going to be back to where we were before? Have you got any thoughts in your mind already in terms of the trends that are now baked in?
I think it should come off, obviously, but I think it would not return to the levels where we've seen it pre-COVID. Because in reality, there's probably some cohort of people who realize maybe they don't even need to go for the restaurant or for some entertainment every evening. So I think saving rate will go down, but probably it will not reach the levels that we've seen pre-COVID, because mentality of people changed, the way people work changed, the way people have rest also changed. Before, we're all going out, enjoying life. Now there's a lot of people, doing yoga in the evenings and so on. So I think things changed.
Go on. What have you been? I mean, I'm trying to do a personal trainer on Zoom. What have you been doing in lockdown? How's it changed you?
Yeah, I started running again. To be honest, I wasn't running for the last 7-8 years. So before, I was purely going to the gym and doing swimming, and now I started running again. I really enjoy it.
Good. Beating some targets.
I do not even need the gym anymore, right? So probably I will not be resubscribing to my gym after
I'm
COVID.
selling gym stocks right now on what you just told me. Now you're working with my really old friend Martin Gilbert now as your chair. How do you guys get along together? What's changed for you since you've got Martin on the board?
To be honest, I think Martin is great. For me, I was always looking for a chair who is entrepreneurial, the same as me. And Martin is a great kind of example of entrepreneurial chairman, because he's a founder of his own company, and as a result, we get along very well, because he knows exactly the issues I face or the troubles I might have in the future, and he's able to advise and direct.
Yeah, it's great to see that too, and you're kind of broadening the board, as you're getting bigger and more governance or whatever. You're kind of just broadening the structure of the company too, yeah.
Yeah, of course, because as I mentioned, we're now in 35 countries. We have many regulated entities, and then for each regulated entity, we have their own executive team and their own board as well. So it in a sense became, well, I wouldn't say crowded, but complex.
So we're having this conversation, say in 5 years' time. What kind of things will Nik at Revolut be talking to me about? What will the shape of the business look like in 5 years' time? Take us into the medium term for you.
Well, I hope we are not only in 35 countries in 5 years' time, but maybe in 80, 90, even 100. That will be a great achievement. But on top of it, just being in all these daily financial products that people need for their financial lifestyle, and plus being really deep in the market. So being top 3 players in every single large market would be a great goal to achieve.
And right back to the present, something that running a business myself, there's a whole bunch of things that keep me awake at night. What's keeping you awake at night in 2021?
To be honest, I sleep well, so I don't really have any problems with sleep. I'm too tired, by the time I go to bed, so I don't wake up.
I think that's a great philosophy. I'm kind of similar. When my head hits the pillow, I've probably done as much as I can. Anybody could do in a day. So it's great to hear you're in the same place.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think philosophy is very simple. You need to devote every single day your full energy. Sometimes there are bad days, sometimes there are good days. But as soon as you devote it, full of your energy, you can sleep well.
Nik, it's been brilliant seeing you. Sorry we didn't have the fire, but it will be like next year. Hopefully, everyone we can all kind of get together. It'd be great to do this again in some more depth, back live in the Guildhall. But look, it's been great to see you today. Thank you.
Thanks so much.